This comes from a book of a Kabbalist written hundreds of years ago, called the Ramchal. It's a very interesting spiritual document on laziness. And it's very interesting to pull from that to understand really the depth of what's underneath the line in terms of team dynamics in business. Now he says this, and by the way, his words are very harsh, so take it personally. Okay? Take it very personally. Good. He says, a lazy person, an indolent person, even though he does no harm to himself, he does no harm actively, nonetheless harms himself through his passivity. He is therefore considered a brother to the master of destruction. In other words, we're all very aware when we hurt someone else in the team. Our control issues, our ego, talking behind people's back. Did you know this person? Oh, yeah, I don't know what to do about it. Yeah. We're all very aware as to when we do something harmful to another person in the team. But passivity, laziness, is equally harmful. In other words, there are two parts to life. One part is doing something good, and the second part is stop doing something bad. And you need both. Bless you. Doing something good, we know about. Doing something bad, we know about. But equal to doing something bad is not doing something good. Our laziness, he's saying, is as destructive in a team dynamic as doing something harmful, inaction. And let's understand this a bit more, because he goes into a very interesting ladder here. The poison of team laziness. Okay? I want us to be very practical, so take notes and try and feel personally where you feel lazy. We'll put it together before we end, and then Sean will take over. He says laziness, which I hope speaks to all of us in one part of our life at least. Laziness is a poison that gradually and progressively spreads. Okay? Without one's knowledge or awareness. In other words, we will not see this process happening. We might be actively aware as to where I'm not communicating with myself, I'm not in tune with myself underneath that line. I'm aware of my words and actions, but not in terms of internally. Maybe I'm aware of that, not to some degree, but to some degree perhaps. But I will not be aware if laziness gets the better of me because it's like a slow poison. I won't be aware of it, and I'll show you exactly what he means. He says, initially, a person merely cuts down on his efforts. So imagine, he calls it lethargic indolence. Okay, as that happens, we make excuses and cut down efforts. Now in a team, when you see a person start making excuses, you need to trigger this. You need to see, one sec, what are they making excuses? Is it genuinely an objective objection that they have? Or is it this person is looking for reasons to be more and more lazy? Because we can find them if we want to. And simply cuts down our efforts. In other words, you become more lazy, simply you do less. Okay? Very clearly. This then has a negative effect on team contribution. Clearly, if I'm doing less, I'm giving less to the team. I'm adding less value. I'm contributing less to that team success. As a result, he says, comprehension will slowly elude that person. We're doing less, there's less feedback. We're in the gym less, we'll be strong, we'll be weaker, we'll be less strong. Same thing in teamwork. We're contributing less, we'll feel less part of that team. We'll feel further out of that team because our laziness is dominating that desire in that moment. He says, if the ills would only end here, it would be bad enough. However, they get progressively worse. In the desire to clarify a particular chapter, he will adduce views that go against the team. So this is where it gets interesting. In this moment, we're a lazy person, and we all do this, but we're not aware of it. And we all have one part of our life where we do this. In a place where we start to build laziness, it starts to overtake us. Because it'll overtake us, how many people like pain and suffering? Hands up. Who woke up this morning begging for more pain and suffering in their life? Clearly not many of us. We enjoy more comfortable things. We enjoy more we don't mind to work, that's fine, because there's a reward, but we enjoy typically more comfortable ideas. The more comfortable idea is laziness and comfort. We'll settle back down to that denominator because it's easier. And we'll convince ourselves that, we still want success, but it's not true. Now, this is where a big lie comes in. We advertise we want success. We advertise we're governing for the team. We advertise we're really of huge desire in business. It's not true. It's not true. Our desire for laziness, our desire for comfort is greater than our desire for success. If it's not, you wouldn't be lazy. Every one of us is in one or perhaps more parts of our life. We are lazier than we are craving success. And we won't be so aware of that. So we'll walk around with big statements and flags of success, making ourselves feel better, but it's a lie. The internal, the underneath the line energy is, I want to be comfortable at any expense, even the expense of my success. I'm not aware of it. I want success. But that's true. You're not jumping success. You're jumping for laziness. Now, at that point, we start to corrupt and bend the truth. Now, this is a very interesting paragraph he adds to this. He says, if you question the lazy person, he'll answer you with numerous quotations and with intellectual arguments that permit him to be lazy, in accordance with his faulty reasoning. But he fails to see these arguments and explanations are not derived through balanced reasoning. Rather, they originate from his laziness, whose domination over him influences his mind and his intellect regarding them. If we speak to a lazy person and really give them on the head they're being lazy, they will not accept it. They will talk about 50,000 things they're speaking about and doing, and all the actions, and all the wonderful ways they've contributed to the team. They will not want to accept it, because if they do accept it, they will have to face up to some very difficult home truths. So he says this in turn prevents one from listening. If we are in a team where we're not listening, or where someone else is not listening, as you said, the reason is this: we don't want to listen to the voice of the wise and to people of sound reasoning. Rather, he alone considers them all to be misguided and foolish, he alone being wise. It's very beautiful, no? This is from a very ancient source of spiritual wisdom. This is what it's about.